Ashley Fox.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. This government was elected on a manifesto to increase spending by £9.5 billion. This was to be paid for by £7.3 billion of extra taxes and £3.5 billion of extra borrowing, all set out in the Labour manifesto. It was a modest plan with a prudent margin. Exactly the sort of plan you might expect a party in opposition to put forward to show they could be trusted to run the public finances. Members opposite might reflect that had they implemented that plan, the British economy would be in better condition than at present. Because in Labour's first budget, they increased public expenditure not by £9.5 billion, but by £70 billion.
£72 billion.
How the Labour benches cheered with delight at the thought of all this extra spending. Pay rises for train drivers with no conditions. Pay rises for junior doctors with no strings. Money for Great British Energy. More money for the British Business Bank. All so the government can invest in projects the private sector doesn't think will make a return. We all know how this story ends. Labour will use all the business acumen that the Cabinet has at its disposal to create a modern version of British Leyland. It's what Labour does best, spending other people's money and borrowing yet more money that other people's children can repay. But all this extra spending and borrowing comes at a price. And the government is now paying 5.7% interest to borrow money for 30 years. That is the highest level since 1998. And this surge in borrowing costs reflects the market's lack of confidence in the Chancellor's ability to manage Britain's finances. I will give way.
Does he accept that that surge in borrowing costs started actually with Liz Truss's mini budget and has not really stopped there since trajectory started?
At all. No. This surge is entirely due to the Chancellor losing control of public expenditure.
£70 billion extra.
And the increased cost of servicing our national debt adds further pressure on the British taxpayer. Having presented her budget, the Chancellor said, and I quote, "We're not going to be coming back with more tax increases or indeed more borrowing." But the problem is no one believes her. The markets don't believe her, and Labour backbenchers certainly don't believe her. They know now they only have to threaten to rebel on any item of public expenditure and the Chancellor will cave, as we saw on the Welfare Reform Bill, brought forward to save a modest £4.5 billion. What happened? The first whiff of a rebellion and the bill was gutted, leaving the taxpayer to pick up the cost. So it is in this context that over the summer we saw briefings from the Treasury testing the water on a whole series of potential tax rises, higher rates of council tax, a land value tax, capital gains tax on family homes, lowering the thresholds for inheritance tax, and an annual property levy on the family home. No wonder the Deputy Prime Minister is being so careful about which of her many homes is her primary residence. The Chancellor is clearly desperate to raise more money. It is a cruel irony, is it not, that having invented a £22 billion black hole to justify her taxing and spending, the Chancellor now finds herself facing a black hole entirely of her own making. It is her jobs tax and other tax rises that have caused the economy to slow and unemployment to rise. Her increase in public expenditure has fuelled inflation, which has led to higher wage demands and increased benefit costs.
Well, my honourable friend,
I will give way.
I thank my honourable friend for letting me intervene. This is exactly the problem, because many businesses in my constituency, and dare I say others, are saying to us as Member of Parliament that they are wanting to invest but daren't invest in growing their businesses because they do not know about the increases in taxes that are coming down the line from this Chancellor. So does he share my concern that businesses are reluctant in investing right now on the projects that they want to deliver for growth of their own enterprises?
I agree with my honourable friend. It is the threat of higher taxes that is causing the economy to stall. And rather than reducing the size of the state so that it is affordable, the government gives every indication of wanting it to grow further. The fundamental reason why this government needs to raise taxes is that it is incapable of controlling the fiscal incompetence of its own backbenchers.
Yeah.
At their cause, Labour MPs genuinely believe the state can spend our constituents' money better than they can spend it themselves. They don't believe in thrift or self-reliance. They see no limit on the size of the state. On this side of the House, we know it is businessmen and businesswomen across Britain who create wealth and growth. Success is the result of hard work, taking risks, satisfying your customer, employing your neighbour. The government should provide the environment for those businesses to thrive, rather than threatening every part of the economy with higher taxes.
Yeah.